I grew up in a typical suburban home. As a child, I did have self-esteem issues, I guess. I started drinking when I was 16 years old. And by the time I hit college, that had progressed to harder drugs, and which progressed to even harder drugs. So by the time I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I was a full-blown addict. I could see the chaos I was causing in my own life, and I could see the chaos I was causing in my family's life. I just seemed to be unable to do anything about it. Finally, I was brought to a place where I was at the end of myself. And so I attempted to take my life at that point. From there, they took me to a rehab place, and I just decided to stay. It was after that time that I reached out to an old friend and found out that there was still a really strong connection. And then probably within a year or so, we were dating, and within a year of that, we were married. We had adopted a couple of boys. We adopted our sons. Nancy just wanted a place to take the kids, and she wanted them to grow up in a church, even though she wasn't a believer at the time. We had visited friends once before. I liked the music, so I said, hey, let's go back. And Nancy immediately started getting involved in volunteering, in Bible studies, and found us a life group. And then eventually she did become a believer. And I still had that issue with trust. That's always been a thing throughout my whole life, is trusting is difficult. But I kept showing up. Wherever Nancy goes, I go. So, eventually I was in a spot where I had no choice but to learn how to trust God. And that was about 4 years ago, when Nancy got sick. And I almost lost her, and I didn't know what to do. This was 4 years ago. So I went to work one morning, and she sent me a text that said that she went to the emergency room and she has the flu and pneumonia, and they're admitting her. And one of the people looked at her and said, why is she here? Get her to cardiology now. And it turns out that what she was feeling was heart failure. By that time, her heart had been so damaged and that her only real option was a heart transplant. All the things I'd been through in my life, it never occurred to me that I could lose my best friend. I was crippled by fear. I was crippled by fear. I came to the Saturday night service and don't remember hardly anything about it, except for one of the songs they played. It was the song that talks about I'm no longer a slave to fear.
I'm no longer a slave.
And I just knew that was God yelling at me with megaphones, like, you're my child, you don't need to fear. And I just broke down. I finally gave up and said, okay, God, I trust you, because I don't have any other choice.
I'm no longer a slave to fear.
It's been an incredible journey, just learning more about his love and his faithfulness to me. And in spite of all my rebellion, in spite of all my unfaithfulness, I was able to learn that hope was here. And hope has always been there.